Hi everyone, I am going to do a simple interest lesson online for you today. So you're going to have to watch this, follow along, and then do all the questions. All right, let's go. So, new topic that we are starting now is financial models, and we're going to start looking at simple and compound interest, which is stuff that we all covered last year, so it shouldn't be new stuff today. There's two parts to this. There is investing and borrowing. So investing is obviously where you have money and you want to grow that money. Borrowing is where you borrow a sum of money from a bank and you have to pay interest on that. So the things that we will be looking at for this investing side is investing using both simple interest and compound interest, how to compare interest rates, especially like how to compare a simple interest rate to a compound interest rate to find out which one's better, tax and inflation, and superannuation. So let's get started. Okay, so hopefully you have all recognized and have seen this equation before. It is the equation to find the interest paid on a simple interest investment. So I stands for the interest paid, so that will tell you how much interest you earn on your investment. And the way you find that is you do P, which is the principal or your initial amount that you are investing, multiplied by your flat rate or your simple interest rate. It must be in the form of a decimal, and then you times it by time in years. So N stands for time in years. If you had a time in months, then you would just have to convert it to years. So this is your simple interest formula. And now I'm going to show you three variations of this formula if you wanted to find either the principal, the interest rate, or the time in years for a problem. So let's start with this one here. So if we wanted to calculate the principal, we would need to cancel out the I and the N. So we need to get P by itself, remember from rearranging equations. And when we rearrange equations, we can do anything as long as we do it to both sides of the equation. So the opposite of multiplying is dividing. So I'm going to divide the right hand side by IN because that's what I want to cancel out, which means I also need to divide the left hand side by IN. So it would look like this. Then what happens is on the right hand side, this lowercase I is going to cancel out and the N is going to cancel out, and you are left with the principal equals interest earned divided by the interest rate times by the number of years. So this would be your formula for calculating the principal. So very similar process for if we wanted to calculate the interest rate. The only difference now is that we want lowercase I by itself, so we need to cancel out the P and the N. So we're going to divide both sides by Pn like this, and again you will see that the P cancels out and the N cancels out, and we're only on the right hand side, and we're left with I, lowercase I equals I divided by Pn. And then the final variation is if we wanted to find time in the number of years. Again, very similar, except this time we're cancelling out the Pi. So we're going to divide both sides by Pi. On the right hand side, the P and the I will cancel out. So the number of years, to find the number of years, you would use this formula here. So if you are confident with rearranging a simple interest equation, then you could just have this simple interest formula on your cheat sheet. If you're not confident, then I would recommend to put all four of them on your cheat sheet so that you have all options there. So now I'm going to go through and do an example using each of these variations. So I'll do 4 examples. So I'll do one example, pause and get you to do some questions, then do another, pause pause, and so on. All right, so let's do example A. $10,000 was invested at a flat rate of 12% PA, which stands for per annum, over 3 years and 6 months. So calculate the simple interest earned. So the first thing that I do is I look at my 4 variables and I see what I can fill in. So I can't fill in my interest earned because I don't know what that is. I do know that the principal is $10,000 because that's what was invested. I know the flat rate is 12%, and 12% converted to a decimal would be 0.12. And I know that N is 3.5 years because I know 6 months is half of a year. So I'm going to be using, because I'm looking for capital I, this is the formula I'm going to be using. All I'm going to do now is substitute my values in, and I get an answer of $4,200. So the amount of simple interest earned is $4,200. Part B to this question says find the total value of the investment. So the total value of the investment is the principal, that's what you started with, plus the interest earned. So I guess a quick formula, if you wanted to add this to your cheat sheet as well, is total value equals principal plus interest. So 10,000 plus 4,200 would be 14,200, and that would be the total value of the investment. All right, so this is the point now where I want you to pause this video, and there are 4 questions here that I would like you to answer. Now, just a little tip for this question here. So remember how I said number of years, time has to be a number of years. So if this is 9 months, you would need to divide that by 12 to convert it to years. This one here is in days, so you would have to divide that by 365 days to convert it to years. Good luck. Pause the video and then come back when you're finished. All right, so now we're going to look at one of the variations of the equation. So let's have a look at this one. Over a 4-year period, $1,600 interest was earned on an investment at 8% per annum simple interest. Find the original amount invested. So I know from this the original amount is going to be my principal. I also know that number of years is 4. I know that my interest rate is 8%, which would be 0.08, and the interest earned was 1,600. So I've filled this in. I know that I need to use the equation where I have P by itself. So I'm using this one here. Again, I'm just going to substitute it in my values and I get $5,000. So the original amount invested was $5,000. Easy as that. So you now have question 5 and 6 to do. Good luck. And then come back afterwards. All right, we got 2 more examples to go through. So you would like to earn $900 in interest on an 18-month investment of $7,500. What flat rate of interest would you need to find? So I know I'm looking for this because I'm looking for the interest rate. I'm going to earn $900 in interest. I start with 7.5 and I have converted. So it told me that the time in months and I've divided that by 12 to convert it to years. So I've got 1.5 years. Looking for lowercase I, so this is the formula I'm going to use. If I substitute it in my values, it would look like this. And I get I equals 0.08, and I'm going to convert that back into a percentage. So that would be by multiplying it by 100, and I would get 8%. So the flat rate of interest would need to be 8% to earn the $900 interest on the investment. All right, so then that example should correlate to question 7 and 8. and then I'm going to show you the last example. All right, last one. How long would it take to earn $2,340 interest from an investment of $8,000 at a 6.5% per annum simple interest? So how long relates to time. So I know I'm looking for time. The interest earned is 2,340, principal 8,000, and this is 6.5% as a decimal. I'm looking for the one, I'm using the formula to find n. I'm going to substitute in my values and I get 4.5. So it would take 4.5 years to earn $2,340 interest on the investment. If you wanted to answer the question in years and months, you'd keep the 4, so it would take 4 years, and then you would do 0.5 multiplied by 12, which would give you 6. So your other answer would be 4 years and 6 months. Either way is fine. It's up to you. So you have these 2 questions to do, and then you have finished your lesson, and I will see you next week. Bye.